Hi, and welcome to part 2 of our Memrise orientation. I'm Chris. I'm one of the volunteers who worked on this project for Holy Language. In our last video, we introduced the Holy Language Memrise courses and talked about some of the fun things we're doing to recognize some of the completion milestones. In this video, I want to walk through some of the basics of the Memrise application itself. So I'm going to flip now to the holylanguage.com/memrise page that we showed in the previous video. And we'll go ahead and jump into our brief tour of the Memrise application itself. So I'm going to get started by clicking here. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's actually going to launch Memrise. And I'm already logged in, so it just populated the 5 Hebrew Quest modules into my account. If you already have a Memrise account, you may be asked to log in. If you do not, you will see something like this page, which will ask you to sign up. And again, it's all free, so all you need to do is click one of the green buttons, either the sign up button here or the join now, it's free button here. And you can either log in with Google or Facebook, or go ahead and enter a username, email address, and password, and then just agree to the terms. Again, it's all free. Your username is public, but your email address and obviously password are private. The other thing I can tell you is that there are apps, so either for Google or iPad or iPhone, you can get those at the App Store. The only thing you need to be aware of is the functionality is a little bit limited on the apps than on a web browser website. So things like you can't add mems, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then certain other things you can't do on the phone. But basically, just a basic flashcard application for learning the Hebrew words. It's just fine. Oops. All right. So I'm back on my dashboard here, and you can see the 5 modules appear here. A little bit about Memrise. It was founded by a former world memory champion, and his name is Ed Cook. E.D. Cook is spelled C-O-O-K-E if you wanted to Google him. Interesting guy. He's got a lot of stuff and has done a lot of work in the memory field. And Memrise's motto is "Learning Made Joyful," and so it just sounds like the right fit for us at Holy Language, because we want to make Hebrew made joyful as well. I'll give a brief introduction to the site, but really there's not a lot to it. Feel free to explore some of the functions, and there's lots of discussion groups and frequently asked questions. There's a whole web forum kind of thing that exists behind this. The first thing I want to let you know is when you see these courses here, I've actually already done it for lesson 1, so I'll go ahead and do number 2. See this button called Set Daily Goal? I strongly encourage you to take a look at that. And you can set either, a good amount a day would be 5 minutes, better would be 15, and then best case scenario would be around 45 minutes a day, and that equates to points. And for purposes of fun and competition, it's fun to earn more points, and if you meet your daily goals, you can get different kinds of badges. So say I did 3 days in a row or 7 days in a row, and I think it's all the way up to 30 days in a row. But really, it's the concept of you get out of it what you put into it. So if you have the time and if you have the bandwidth, try and do 45 minutes a day on the Hebrew Quest. So for these, I'm kind of busy, so I'm going to pick 15 minutes a day, and it's going to say, I have achieved 0 of 6,000 points for the day. And I've already started a little bit of module 1 here, just kind of playing around with it for the purposes of this video, so that's why it says 276 there. Across the top, you'll see 3 buttons here: Home, Courses, and Groups. So I'll just walk through those. So Home is the screen we're on now. It's got your profile over here, any courses you have, so the Hebrew Quest courses, and then there's lots and lots of other courses that you can take if you want. You just click the Courses button, and then you can drill down by language or language, math and science, history. There's all kinds of Memrise courses available. If you're not a native speaker, you can click the top button there, and there'll be courses in your native language that are designed to learn another foreign language. So we've designed our Hebrew Quest courses with English as native speaker in mind. Hopefully someday we can get these over to Spanish and maybe some of other languages that are represented in our tribe. And then groups, if you have a group number like we did, we actually made that transparent to you. All you had to do is click a link. But if you're in other groups, you can join those here and see what you're joined into. And if you want, you can create your own group of courses as well. So I'll go back to the home page. The other thing I want to show you is over on the upper left here is your personal profile, and so there are the rank badges that you get by points. And if you remember on the last video, they have all of these levels, and so someone had a kind of a bit of fun using mem as a pun. So everyone starting out will get Membrio, and then once you get 500 points, you'll be member, and then all the way up. So all the way up to Overlord. I don't know why there's no mem in there, but that's 100 million points. And then the daily goal streak badge is 357, and then all the way up to 30. So these are just things you can achieve, things to make it entertaining, and not just the traditional paper 3x5 flashcards that you just look at the front and the back and then do that over and over again. So Memrise does everything they can to make it fun. If you click on View Profile here, coming up, the one thing that makes Memrise a little bit different is that they have memes, or we may hear them pronounced as memes if you have an E on the end. You can add pictures, and then you actually have the ability to type words over them if you want to actually make what is a mem. The name Memrise is actually a play on the words meme and memorize, so that's how we get that Memrise word. At Holy Language, of course, since we're really into memes in a big way, this is one area that we'll want to build up, so maybe our artist group can help build something out here. But as individual users, we're free to create our own and upload it. So here you can see I've done a couple of memes for Hevel and Kayin, and so one has a stone, one has a knife. So one's, depending on your interpretation of what happened, you can go with either one of those. Since we live in a thumbs up society, other users have the ability to say, hey, I like that, that's really helpful, so they can click thumbs up there, and then you can, I probably like my own there, that's the only reason I have one, but you can help others along the way. So while memory experts do say the sillier the visual cue, the more likely we are to remember it, just remember that everyone taking our courses will be able to see your mem. It's very public once you post it. And also remember that we'll have folks at various stages of maturity in their walk with Yeshua. So just a caution to use good discretion when you upload your mems. In other words, like I tell my kids, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So just think twice about what you're uploading, and just remember that it's going to be publicly visible. Courses shows you what courses you are learning. So there are the 5 Hebrew Quest modules. And then just like Facebook has friends, Memrise has what they call mempal. So you can friend each other, or I guess you would pal each other in this scenario, and then kind of see how other people are doing, and that leads to competition and leaderboards. So I'll go back here, and down at the bottom there should be the leaderboard of people who have done it this week. So I'm a little behind at 276, but the more people we friend and get following it, I think it'll be a lot of fun to kind of see who's doing the most, and kind of work towards outdoing each other in our quest to plant Hebrew in our long-term memory. All right, let's take let's look at a couple of examples here. So I'll click on lesson 1, and then you can see within the first module, module 1, and you can see within there we've got 8 lessons, and these correspond to, in this case, the first 8 videos. So the first one is Hebrew words you may already know, that Izzy went over on the first video, and then on the second video he talked about Aleph, the third video Bet and Gimel, and so on. So we've got 5 modules with 8 courses each, so there are the 40 Hebrew Quest lessons all built into Memrise. So really you can click on any one of these. Of course, probably you want to go in order, but you just know that you don't have to. So I could actually go into lesson level 4 here, and then all you do is you click Learn These Words. There's some other options here you can play around with. You can preview them, but to just jump right in, just click Learn These Words. It'll load. Dalit. So you can hear Izzy's, if you heard that in the background, we've got the magic of audio. And you can just hover over it and it should play again. There we go, I talked over. Sorry, Izzy, I talked over you. And then Yehuda, there we go. And so we'll mix letters and words, just kind of going in the order that he went on the video. And so it'll show you these a couple of times, and then it'll start quizzing you. So it'll say, here's the word, and then which multiple choice answer do you want? Oh, good, I got that one right. And what you can see here is this indicator will start to change. So that's planting the seed, and then if I click the right answer, you can see the seed start to sprout, and then eventually it will grow into a tree. And that means, for this purposes, it's well on its way to being planted in your long-term memory, and then you will just review it. Now, one thing I like about Memrise, compared to, say, Quizlet or some other things, is that it uses a system called spaced repetition sequence. And so unlike paper flashcards, the system actually keeps track of those words you know versus those words you don't know. So words you know better are presented less frequently than the words you need to work on. So you'll see the words you need to work on more frequently. And that's just a way of really helping you reinforce what are some of the harder concepts. You give those a little bit more attention to lock them in. Really, again, the website is very simple, very easy to use, pretty intuitive. So that's pretty much all I had to say here. Hope that helps you get started. And so just remember, you can go to our holylanguage.com/memrise to load the modules into your Memrise account, and you can create a Memrise account if you need to. One caveat I would say is just remember that this is all what you might say is version 1.0. So there are bound to be some glitches here and there. And if you do find any, you can send me an email at memrise@holylanguage.com, and I will fix those and answer any other questions that you have as soon as I am able to. So that's memrise@holylanguage.com. If you're watching this video in the fall of 2016, then I've got a third video for you to check out coming up next, where I'll be sharing some information on a Holy Language Memrise study group that we're launching next month in October. So again, thanks for checking out this video, and I hope to see you high atop the Memrise leaderboards. Thanks.